showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
I want to welcome you guys out today to a special edition of the I Am Salt Lake podcast, episode 110. My name is Chris Hollifield. Thank you so much for checking out my show, for downloading, for streaming, for listening, however you're tuning in. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. This episode, I sat down with Matt Knudsen. He's a comedian and actor. He was here during the SLC Comedy Carnivale a few weeks ago. I sat down, I chatted with him, found out about his comedy career, his acting career, found out what he thought of Salt Lake City while he was in town during the SLC Comedy Carnivale. Had a really great conversation with him. Really excited to bring that to you. You know, I've been talking to so many people here in Salt Lake City. That's why I'm bringing you 3 episodes this week, just to get some of these conversations that I've had out so you guys can listen in. And I appreciate all of your guys' support. Before I do jump into the conversation with Matt Knudsen, I want to mention the sponsor for this podcast, the Urban Lounge, located right in downtown Salt Lake City. You can check out their website. Check out all the bands that are going to be playing there at the Urban Lounge, SLC.com. They have links for their Facebook and Twitter. So make sure to follow, keep up to date with all of the bands that are going to be playing there. Like I mentioned, Matt Knudsen joined me for this episode. We sat outside the complex in downtown Salt Lake City. We had a great conversation. So why don't you join me now as I talk to Matt Knudsen during the SLC Comedy Carnivale.
I thought this was, it's the gold, Chris.
This is the gold. Well, introduce yourself.
Hello, friends. I'm Matt Knudsen, comedian, actor, attentive listener.
How long have you been doing stand-up even for?
I got started in 2001. So according to my math, that is 12 years. Remember the first show that I ever did was in Los Angeles. I was on a show at a benefit for a place called the Theater of Note. I think it's still in Hollywood. They did something called a performance marathon where they went from like 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. the next day and had 24 hours of performance. So I had thought about doing stand-up, and I just submitted myself to the producer of the event and just told him I was a comedian. And when he had 24 hours of programming to book, he couldn't really refute it.
You mentioned before, like, you were acting. Were you acting before comedy?
You know, I started acting and doing comedy and sketch and improv kind of all in one fell swoop because I hadn't done really any of that stuff before I moved to Los Angeles. So
what were you doing before? Like what?
You know, before I moved to LA, I was a merchant marine. I was a sailor. I would work on cargo ships and stuff that sailed all over the world. So I was like going to Japan, Korea, China, Europe, Africa.
And you were just kind of done with that whole thing, and that's kind of what...
I realized even when I was in it that I was not going to be in it I wasn't going to be a lifer, because I still had the aspiration to, do stand-up and to act and to perform. But I just didn't, I don't know, before you like start something, it just feels like the most remote thing ever. It's like, it seems like such a vague concept. You're like, so acting, that'd be great. All right, I'm going to go sail around the world, So that took up about 5 years of my life. I did that for almost 5 years. And I moved to LA when I was 20.
And where'd you move from?
I was born in Honolulu. I grew up in the Midwest. My dad was a pastor, and so we would move around a lot. But I lived in Nebraska, Colorado, Iowa. But my family moved to California from North Dakota.
Oh, so you moved with your entire family?
My family, yeah.
To LA. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go to Hollywood and get big and get famous.
Here's the thing. I moved with my family when I was still in school. So I finished junior high school in Orange County, California. So my family at the time lived in Costa Mesa, California.
Was that a kind of a culture shock for you, being from like Nebraska?
Yeah,
and all that Midwest states. I mean, those are LA's. I mean, I get overwhelmed, and that's my old stomping grounds down in
I've
LA.
lived there for 15 years. I still get overwhelmed sometimes. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
So you mentioned like acting. Like what are some of the things that you've had a chance to perform?
I was just in that movie Gangster Squad with Sean Penn and Ryan Gosling last year.
Okay.
I don't know. I've done a lot of TV commercials and stuff. I was in
Weren't you
Big
in-
Love, Boston Legal, Malcolm in the Middle.
So you were in Big Love. I mean, is this festival your first time like in Salt Lake, like really here?
Salt Lake proper. Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, outside of like driving through briefly and.
So what perception of? I was kind of curious because I looked you up on Wikipedia actually, and you look great for being 57.
I love that.
You know,
it says like he was born October whatever 1957. I just think it's so funny.
Yeah, well, when I looked at that, I was trying to calculate. I'm like, he's not that old.
No,
you know?
I'm not that old. But I'm not going to go on and change it.
No.
Because if people think, but dude, for 59, you look fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
must be all that clean
the vitamins.
I juice, Chris. I'm a juicer. That's
you're the next juice man. The next juice. Well, it's all that clean California air. You know, the beach. So, anyways, Big Love, and this is it's kind of interesting. You brought that up. People have this perception of Utah through Big Love. You know, that polygamy.
Right.
Did you have a big role on Big Love?
No, I
watched a few episodes.
I did a few episodes in the first season. The character I played was Dell. He worked at I guess early on. Bill Paxton's character had a store called Home Plus.
Okay.
So I worked at Home Plus. I was Dell from Home Plus. So
that didn't like give you this weird perception of Salt Lake or Utah at all?
No,
like that,
I mean,
just full of polygamy.
No, not. I mean, I think everyone knows that that's not real. You know what I mean? It might be kind of like a punchline, like, "Hey, how many wives you got?" But it's just like, I mean, that's
there are polygamists here.
Are there?
You know, and it's funny actually because
the Jeffords.
I was talking to my mom one time. I mean, this was a couple years ago, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you remember so and so that was over here? They're polygamists." And I'm like, "You hang out with polygamists?" You know? I mean,
I thought what was interesting the way that they turned that whole concept on its head, where like the polygamists who are supposed to be like that they were like shunned in society or whatever, they were also like the heroes of the show. Where you're like, don't out them. They're good people, you know. So you rooted for the people that were. I thought it was an interesting way to twist the dichotomy of that. So
yeah,
I like the show. It's actually I remember getting HBO on cable because of the show and that I was on the show. So it was a fun memory. And actually, at the premiere, I was able to go to the premiere. It was at Mann's Chinese Hollywood, theater in Hollywood, Mann's Chinese. And they had the red carpet premiere and the whole thing. And I got to have my wife on my arm.
And you were all decked out in a tux.
I had the suit and the works. Yeah. They had seats that had my name like reserved. And so all the producers and actors and stuff like came up and gave a speech or something like that, and then they showed the pilot episode, and then there was like a after party, and I don't know. There's sometimes when you just are surrounded by legitimacy, you're like, yeah, you know, it just happens in moments, and those are the things that you just kind of, I guess, stick in your cap for later. Yeah.
So. When did you get to Salt Lake? You've been here, what, a day and a half? Or
been here a day and a half, yeah. I got here.
Have you got a chance to explore the city at all?
I walked down to Temple Square today.
How was that for you? It
was great. Yeah, it was great.
Did you take the tour there?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't officially take the tour, but I kind of cheesed in on other people's tour, where if I saw people like stopping and talking, I would just kind of like fill into the back of the row and listen to them. I have to say, you know, my dad and mom are very religious. I was raised religious. It's not a big part of my life now. I mean, I appreciate that it's for my parents and that stuff. I still go to church on the holidays, but
you're a holiday church guy.
Yes, I'll still go to church Christmas, Easter, and the apocalypse. I mean, try and keep me out of church during the apocalypse, Chris. Good luck. Yeah, but
sorry, I lost your train of thought.
No,
there.
I was just gonna say it's such a commitment to a principle and a lifestyle. And you see that like with like Muslims and, you know, anyone that's taking anything it means so much to them. It almost makes me wish something meant that much to me. You see people that are, you know, praying to Mecca 5 times a day, and no matter where they are, they'll lay their little prayer mat out and just face Mecca and pray. And it's just like, you know, if I get up before 9 a.m., I'm like, that's a pretty good day. Yeah.
It is definitely interesting to live here. I mean, I'm not Mormon myself, but it is interesting, you know, and there's a lot of respect, you know, and it kind of makes Salt Lake what it is, I think, you know. Absolutely.
Well, I was the thing is, I enjoy experiences. I like to drink them up.
Yeah.
And I'm don't crap on people's stuff. You know what I mean? I'm able to appreciate things for where they are. I tried to get into the temple. I was like, hey, I just like walked in the front door and there's a bunch of people sitting around there wearing like all white clothes, like white suits and white tie, and all the women were wearing like white dresses. And I saw them like walking down the hall to go into the temple. And I just like walked up to the guy who was at the podium and I said, so is this something that can I just go in or something? He's like, I wish you could, but I'm sorry, we can't allow that. He said, it's not a secret. It's just sacred. I was like, okay, well, that's a good explanation.
So you never got like an opportunity. You never went to like the LA temple down in Los Angeles.
No, but there's a big one.
It is big down there.
Yeah. It's on like Santa Monica Boulevard. I actually ran the, LA Marathon this year and they blocked off Santa Monica Boulevard and you ran right past it. But
you ran the marathon.
I ran the marathon. Yeah.
Are you a big runner?
No, I'd never done it before in my life. I never run a marathon. I like occasionally will jog if I feel like I'm, that
new fed.
Yeah. I was just like, but
sorry, a little anchor man.
No, before I signed up, I went and I ran 15 miles. I just was like, I want to see because you can't, to be officially sanctioned and to get the bib and the whole thing, it's like $175. So I didn't want to like be flippantly like, yeah, I got it, and sign up and then just do like 4 miles and drop out. But
so it'd be safe to say we're not going to see you in a future Iron Man, like
buddy. No. But I ran 15 miles. I was like, I feel this is all right.
Yeah.
And then I signed up, and then about 2 weeks before, I ran 18 miles just to see how I would feel. And then waited about 2 weeks, and then I just did it. Basically, my average was I did it in like 5 hours and 20 minutes, which is like a 12-minute mile. But anytime I got tired, I just like walked. I didn't, it was pretty cool actually. Yeah, something special about the Los Angeles Marathon because it goes from Dodger Stadium, then you like run through all these sections of downtown that are so different and unique, and like kind of the characters. Like you go downtown, and there's like a Chinatown, and you're like running down the street, and it's just lined with these like Chinese drummers. It's do 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 do. Those guys with the big, with the big drums, and there's like old Chinese women waving American flags. You're just like, this is awesome. And then you run through an area of Sunset, which is like kind of Silver Lakey Echo Park, and it's hipsters and, kind of beards and cardigans and the tattoos, and they're like, come on, man. All right, come on. And I had, my name on my bib. So you're running past these people. Come on, Matt. You're doing great, Matt. Keep it up. You're right. I am doing great. And then like you run through Hollywood down Sunset Boulevard past the Stars and the Chinese Theater, and like, the Sunset past the Laugh Factory and, the Comedy Store. And then it goes down to West Hollywood, and there's like these transvestite cheerleaders, these men dressed as cheerleaders. Come on, Matt. And it was hilarious. It was such a unique to Los Angeles marathon.
I could imagine. I mean, well, LA is interesting by itself.
It's true.
I'm surprised a marathon can even get through that city with all the traffic. I mean, it's how do you not get stressed out? I mean, do you drive? I mean, you have to have a car in LA.
I drive all the time.
I mean, are you just late all the time?
Here's the thing. Realistically, anything takes you a half hour to get to. Like if there were no cars on the road, or you left at like midnight, you can get anywhere in LA in half an hour. But when you know how long that should take you, that's when it really is just like, it took me like an hour and a half to get to Hollywood on Monday night. I'm in like this basketball league, and I left at like 6:00, and our game's at like 7:30, and I just made it. Yeah. But,
well, I mean, the last time I was in Southern California, we went from, I was down at like Venice Beach.
Yeah.
And we had to go 10 miles to, went down there for a Ryan Adams. I don't know if you're familiar with Ryan Adams. Went down to a Ryan Adams concert at the Walt Disney Amphitheater.
Oh, yeah.
And went from Venice Beach to there. And it was, the GPS said it was like 10 miles, and it took us like an hour and a half. And we thought, we allowed plenty of time. And I'm just like, I don't know how anybody gets anywhere on time. I mean, how do you get to a job on time, school on time?
Right.
I don't know. It's ridiculous.
And that's the thing. Like, everyone has that X factor. So it almost removes the excuse in and of itself. It's just like, sorry, I'm late. Traffic was bad. Yeah, we're all on time, and we all were in the same traffic. So I give myself an hour plus.
Do you get road rage? Angry?
Sometimes.
Or do you just put on a comedy CD and laugh?
You know what? I listen to a lot of books on tape.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm, as we speak, and I hate to admit this, I bought the Pickwick Papers, Charles Darwin. It was the novel that made Charles Dickens. No, actually, I take that back. Charles Darwin. It was.
Well, we're here in Utah, little Charles Darwin.
He wrote The Origin of Species and followed it up with the Pickwick Papers.
Did you listen to The Origin of Species?
No, I didn't.
I was just curious if that was a good listen.
I have not, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
What he writes about makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
But I bought Charles Dickens' The Pickwick Papers, and I was like, I'm going to read this. It's an American treasure. It's a classic. Everyone reads this. I'm sorry, Chris. That plane's for me. I got to cut this short. No,
you got to get out of here. Huh?
Terrible hacky joke. So it was like 800 pages and the type's like really small. And I just would have it by the bed. I'd get like 3, 4, 5 pages and just, I got it on Audible. I just downloaded it like a week ago. I was like, that was my official surrender of reading the Pickwick Papers and just, but when I downloaded it, with having a professional actor sit there and read the entire thing, 30 hours, 24 minutes.
That's how long
it took the actor to read the book. That's how long the audio thing is on Audible.
Do you find that you're able to, because I've thought about listening to books on tape. Mm-hmm. I listen to a bunch of podcasts, too many podcasts.
Me too. What are some of your favorites?
Well, we'll have to get some of my favorites. Mm-hmm. People ask me this on the show a lot. Of course, I like WTF with Mark Maron and Nerdist, depending on who they have on there.
Ironically enough, this is Brian Regan's WTF with Mark Maron was a big impetus for me coming to Salt Lake City.
Really?
Because they were just saying like, Brian Regan comes here and, he has...
he sells his crowds out. It's ridiculous.
And I love Brian Regan. And I'm going to go see him. I bought tickets. He's playing in Thousand Oaks on September 29th. And
close to my old stomping grounds right there. Grew up in Ventura. So,
cool.
Yeah.
So I bought tickets to his show, but after listening to the podcast, I had listened to a lot of them, but I made a donation to the podcast. I sent Maron money and I wrote him a fan letter. Even though I've been a few times, I still wrote him like, this was... I love the show and here's why. And it was Brian Regan. And so that when I saw the Comedy Carnival, I was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to come and perform in Salt Lake City and get the temperature and meet some people. And so it was kind of a big...
And so what do you think of Salt Lake? Have you had a chance to mingle with some of the Salt Lake City comics?
I did. They had a kind of a meet and greet at the beginning of the festival last night, from like 5 to 7 at Squatters. Christopher Stevenson, is the producer of the festival. He also works at Squatters too. So he arranged stuff. And, so I have a little bit, but I haven't hung out as much as I'd like to.
And you're performing tonight as we record this, I know you got to get to that in just a second, but, do you see yourself coming back here? Would you like to?
I would love to.
Yeah,
I would love to. The reality is I don't road dog as much as I used to, or as much as, I don't even know if I should anymore. I make most of my money as an actor in Hollywood.
Okay.
And the state of comedy these days, it's...
So that's your full-time gig then? Acting.
I only act, acting and doing comedy. Yeah. And I write and I've developed shows and pitch shows around, but it's one of those things like once you get, and I guess this is the advice. Anytime someone asks like, how do you, what did you do? Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? And it's like, I do all of them. And then you get attention in one field and like, oh, hey, you had a good set and you have a manager. Now you sit down with the manager. So, hey, what you got? Hey, I'm glad you asked. I've written these 3 pilots. I have this movie. I have an idea for a book I have. You know what I mean? It's all kind of fun, creative ways to funnel your voice into stuff, So
what do you like better, acting or stand-up?
Or
does that put you in a
stand up?
Just because you can have fun, even like last night. I liked how you kind of got I still don't even know what he yelled out.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I think I said I know what I look like. I look like I invented missionary.
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, that's convenient, or he's like something like that. It's just like. And I think I said something like, this is my audience plant.
Yeah.
I just have him here in the show to confuse everyone.
So you really did plant him there?
No.
I know you didn't.
But I did give him and his girlfriend 2 tickets to the show tonight.
So you're hoping he'll heckle you tonight then?
Yeah. And then you try and recreate the moment. Yeah.
So back to podcasting. Actually.
Oh, podcast.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No.
WTF.
You do a podcast, don't you?
I do a podcast. I'm just kind of getting
off the ground with it.
Getting off the ground.
You mentioned that last night.
Yeah.
We chatted for a second.
I do something called Lunch. It's just Lunch with Matt Knudsen, and I recorded one Monday with Mike Kaplan, Zach Sherwin, and Micah Sherman. We did it at this LA restaurant, and it was just kind of, I have the recorder like this, and we just sit around and talk because it's such a big component of like hanging out, and like it's so cheesy, but like, hey, let's do lunch. Hey, let's get together for coffee. Let's do, and when you're sitting around with those creative minds and funny people, and especially if they're like friends of yours, like I just met Micah that day, but I've known Mike and Zach for a long time. Mike and I were part of the New Faces of Comedy for Montreal in 2009. So he's been my friend ever since. So every time he comes to LA, he's in New York, but we always get together for lunch, and it's always very animated and very funny and a lot of laughs.
So you're like, let's record this.
Yeah,
let's get the conversation. So is that your only episode you've recorded? Then?
That's the only one I've done.
So it's not on iTunes.
It's not on iTunes. It's not
online or anything like that.
No.
For people.
So I do that, and then I've started another podcast with a comedian named Ryan Singer. I don't know if you know Ryan Singer.
The name rings a bell.
He opens for Marin. He's a really funny guy, really sweet guy too. And we do a podcast called Take a Hike, where we go and we just go on a hike with another comic, and we just we have the recorder and just have microphones that we hold as we hike around all these canyons and creeks. And
that's actually a brilliant idea. I should get this. I mean, we got some beautiful mountains here.
Yeah.
Let's go on a hike in the mountain.
Let's start right now.
Yeah, let's just get out of here and go.
What's all this sitting around nonsense?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So, what are some podcasts that you listen to, or that you would recommend? Even, I mean, there's one I actually discovered because I was trying to look up some of the comedians before this festival.
Sure.
The Green Room, I think it was what it's called, wasn't it? Weren't you on a podcast? That was an interview because I listened to that.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sean Green does.
Sean Green, great podcast.
Great podcast.
I don't know. Maybe you don't listen to it. I don't know.
Well, I do. I listen to it occasionally. I would have to say, as much as there's like so many great podcasts out there, there's probably like maybe a handful that I listen to regularly. I don't even listen to like a lot of them that you're on. You kind of have the moment, and that was the podcast for you.
Is it tough to hear your own voice? Have you gotten over that? I mean, even being an actor, do you watch? Do you like sit there and say, "Oh, okay,
A little bit.
Is it hard to watch?
Yeah, a little bit. But I don't think any actor who says like, I never watch my own stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know how much I buy that. I think people check it out and just gonna, ad nauseum. But I listen to WTF. I listen to that a lot. I'm a big fan. This American Life.
Beautiful.
That's another one that I like. I donated to and, sent money to WBEZ and I feel responsible if I'm listening to it enough and I'm an invested fan, and I feel a stronger level of attachment if I back it in the way that I can. So I've sent stuff to them. How Stuff Works. You ever listen to that?
I have. I have a few episodes, of that from time. I subscribe to some, listen to a bunch, unsubscribe. My phone gets so clogged up all the time with listening to. Yeah,
it happens. It happens. But I do, there's a
Do you think podcasting is oversaturated at all? You were kind of talking about.
That's a good question.
That's the good ones and the bad ones.
Mm-hmm. I like things that are operating on maybe another level, like with Marin's thing. He's sitting down and he almost asked the questions that you would ask if you're sitting down, like, so how did you, and you met this and that, I tend to be more inclined to that. My favorite part of like This American Life is it's like the same reason that I love Huell Hauser. They make regular people stars. They kind of pick people out in not out of nowhere, but I mean, they aren't people who are grabbing for the spotlight. They're just like, hey, we heard about this story at Brigham Young University. And so we came and talked to Derek. Hey, and that's how,
I love listening to people's stories. I think people, and I think that's what I like about podcasts is the fact that you can find they're not always the famous people.
Yeah.
They're just ordinary people. Listen to whether their struggles growing up.
Right.
Or child, whatever. You
Right.
know, there's a great new. Actually, you back to. There's a great new podcast I just started listening to called Strangers.
Strangers.
I don't know if you've ever
No,
heard of that.
I'll look it up for sure.
Yeah, it's just stories, just stories about people's lives
Cool.
and different
Yeah,
struggles.
Kevin Allison does a good one called Risk. He does
Excellent pod. I
podcast.
just actually started that 3 weeks ago or so. You know,
and Kevin's
trying
real
to get
like
through their catalog.
sweet guy. You know, we met a few years ago at the Bridgetown Comedy Festival in Portland, and like. That's a great thing about festivals. It's like everyone's just kind of hanging out, and you know, when you're local or you're doing a show in Los Angeles or New York or even like Chicago or something like that, people will do their spots, and then they, you know, through no fault of their own, they just take off right away because you know they have another set or they, you know, they got a kid or they just want to do whatever. When you're at a festival, you do your show, and then you're like, well, all right, show's over. Let's go to this bar that's next door and hang out. So it's a much more sustained hang, and you get to know people a lot better.
Are you going to go to the LA Podcast Fest? I know that, or have you heard of that yet?
Yes, I have. That's
because I know
my buddies.
WTF Mark Maron's going to be doing some live podcasting.
I'm probably going to go. I think it's in Santa Monica, if I'm not mistaken. That's where
sometime
I
in
live.
October.
Yeah, I think that's Andy Wood, who does the Probably Science podcast. He's also the founder of the Bridgetown Comedy Festival, and Dave.
Doesn't matter, I guess.
No, Walk in the Room. Greg Barrington, Dave. Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting. I wanted to say Dave Waite, but that's another comedian. It's not. I see his face in my mind. Make this beat longer and more uncomfortable in post. If you could just spread
it out.
Make my little voice. But the Walk in the Room podcast. Oh, this is going to bug me. I can't.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
It doesn't matter. I'm just curious because I mean, I'd love to drive down to that. But
you should come out and see if they can. Do you know who to like tug on the sleeve to get into that?
Well, no, I would just go watch. You know what I mean?
I want to do your show.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your
Here's my thing. I hear no all the time, Chris. All the time. You know.
Yeah.
So why not ask? I mean,
you hear no, like what, in acting or comedy?
Acting and comedy and writing.
Do you think people just get scared to get out there? You know, kind of they have to build their own self-confidence.
Yes. I think it's a lot of fear-based things. A lot of like, someone's better than me. Oh, I'm not ready.
Do you think that's true? Do you think anybody, I mean...
I feel that.
Some people are better.
Yeah, I feel like I think there's just tremendous people that I'm not even, you know, like that
are better than you.
Yeah, like I'll go watch like Dana Gould, and then you're like, so.
But what do you think makes him better than you, though?
I mean, he's such a great comic and such a like. You know, just his whole history and writing for The Simpsons and having this whole, you know,
Have you written for any TV shows?
No,
you haven't done any
never
writing.
staffed up. I mean, I've thought about it. I've submitted packets every once in a while, but the reality is, and it could be reality or just my own perception. Once you staff up, you have to say no to acting opportunities. And that was always the forefront of the tip of my spear, if you will. So, but I think I'd enjoy sitting and writing and collaborating. I mean, anything I've ever written has just been a very solitary thing. Like I'll bang out a pilot or something like that. And I actually just shot something towards the end of last year. There's a pilot I wrote and am pitching around called Clinical Trials that I did with like Kyle Kinane and my friend Jamie Kaler and Lynn Stewart, who was Miss Yvonne in Pee-wee's Playhouse, and Edie Patterson, who's in the Groundlings. And so I just like called. That's a great thing about like hanging out for a long time. You develop these networks.
Do you feed off of each other's energy?
Yeah. And also too, you just all kind of know each other and you're like friends and mutual fans. And then you just, instead of like, I'm going to hold a casting session it's just like, you know, I'm going to call Kyle Kinane because he's great. And they're also, I have to say, when I sat down and was writing this, you almost like picture the people that you would like to have do it as you're typing. So you're picturing in your mind them saying the words, and when everyone came on board and was a part of it, it was really probably one of the highlights of my
career. Would you say you're living your dream?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I always say when I was a kid, if you had told me that how it's going down right now, I would have been ecstatic. I'm still ecstatic.
I mean, you're getting out there. You're doing it. I mean,
I'm doing my best, you know, and there's always
something. Do you feel like you're not doing enough though?
Yeah, there's that. I mean, and also I think aspiration is just built into this career because there's always going to be a next level. Like, oh, I did this, but my friend is now on an NBC show. You know, dissatisfaction is built in, but you can't let it consume you. You know, you just have to be as zen as you can about it, and you know, appreciate the.
So what motivates you? What motivates you to keep going?
I love what I do. Yeah, I love what I do. And when I think about doing anything besides this, even on my worst day, I can't think of anything else. You know.
Is your family pretty supportive of what you do?
I'm just married. Yeah, I just have a wife, so I don't have like, you know, a lot of
pretty recently
kids.
Married or what?
Are you ready for this?
What?
Today is my anniversary.
1 year or 1 month?
No, 9 years.
9 years.
Been married 9 years.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
You know, I mean, it
thank
takes
you.
a while. I mean, a lot of people don't get that far.
Yeah.
But
So
she's
it's
pretty
just
supportive of you
super
on the
supportive.
road.
And my parents and my family, they are all supportive too, but they're not actively involved in what I do. Like I you know, but they never like naysayed and, you know, you'll never make it. There was none of that. But they're always proud when I'm, you know, they see me on TV or something, and they'll email the family and tell them, and so, you know, I know they're into it, which is nice.
What advice would you give somebody who wants to get into the comedy scene? Who wants to get into stand-up? Since we're at the comedy festival, let's talk comedy there instead of necessarily acting. I mean, that's a whole different game.
Right. I would just say, just go to shows. Just go to shows where people are doing.
Just get out and
just get out there and show your face. Like 90% of doing comedy is hanging out and being a good person. Just make yourself good company. Go to shows, you know. And if you really want to start regularly getting up, I mean, I remember when I first started, I would do a spot, and then, you know, I talked to another friend who was doing comedy. He'd been doing it for a while, and I was like, well, I got another show. You know, it was like January or something. I was like, I got another show March 3rd. And he's just, you got to go out all the time. You got to go out like, you know, 5 nights a week. You got to get, even if you're not actively, especially when you're first starting out, if you're not actively getting up on stage as much as you want to, you can even learn by seeing somebody who's killing it. And like, why is he killing it? Is it because, I mean, is it, he's so himself on stage? Is it the economy of words? Is it the writing? Is it all of it? You know, so you can learn a lot just by watching great people do spots. And then also too, when people see you around, you know, you go to open mics and stuff, and you kind of, I'm not a big fan of the word networking, but I mean,
it's important though to get out there. You know what I mean?
You show up and somebody's
talk to people and not be afraid to say hello.
Yeah. And I used to run a show for a lot of years too. I think that helped because I had a spot that I could go to every week.
Like an open mic show?
It was a book show. It was this place called O'Brien's in Santa Monica. It's actually
a book show.
A book. There's open mics and there are book shows.
Okay. See, I'm not, you know, I don't do the comedy thing. You know what I mean? I just podcast. Yeah. A book show is when, like, in advance of the performance, there's a producer of the evening that books, like, all right, I'm going to book Chris, and I'm going to book, you know, like 4 of the guys. So when they come on there, they know they have a spot. The show starts at 9, it goes from 9 to 10. It's going to be 5 people. Everyone does 10 minutes. God bless, good night. You know, open mic is more of, you know, well, we'll show up at like 7:00. We'll put our name in the hat, and you can draw it out, and they'll just, you know, go from there. So there's open mic, there's booked. That's pretty much it. And it's like, I don't know, there's showcase shows. In Los Angeles, there's not a lot of, like headliner show where somebody will go and do like 45 minutes. Cause like on the road, the structure is there's an opening act who's like the host, who'll do like 10 minutes. There's a feature act, who will do like 20 minutes to half hour. And then there's a headlining act, which is like 45 minutes to an hour or more. And then showcase shows in like Los Angeles and New York, it's like 6 guys doing 10 minutes, 12 minutes, you know, sometimes more people doing less time. So what's a typical set like for you then?
In Los Angeles,
I guess it depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
I mean, but if someone's like really like hooking you up, they're like, you can do 20. you know. Yeah,
And you feel like you're really,
that's when they're bringing you on. You're a headliner. Are you guys ready for it? You know, it's just like,
how long can you go for?
Oh, I'm going to be doing an hour tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you probably can go hours with all your...
I've actually been writing for a new album that I'm going to be recording here before the end of the year. So that's another kind of discipline too, just taking all your piles of material and mashing it into this one kind of cohesive blob. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, you know, because there is a component where you can like, maybe riff and improvise, and I don't know, maybe some people can do this better than me. For me, if there's not some structure in place where you have a roadmap where you're going, it's tough to do an hour of riff. Hey, what else is going on, guys? I think it's tiring as the performer, and then maybe the crowd doesn't feel that you have your hand on the rudder, so to speak. I mean, you could go up there and riff for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and you're like, it's fine. And you like pull from, there's like this floating Rolodex of material that you have, and you're like, oh, this guy looks like he's wearing shorts. I got this cargo shorts bit, and you just kind of like make it seem organic, but it's all floating. I don't know if I could do the floating Rolodex for an hour. At least not in an entertaining way, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I know you got to, you got to get up there.
Oh, it's all
and
good.
do it,
What time is it? How are we doing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but really quickly.
Yes, of course.
How can people find out? You're online. I know you're on Twitter. I follow you on Twitter.
Oh,
you post funny tweets, by the way. I'm a big Twitter fan.
Oh, I love Twitter too. Yeah, because you can follow people that you don't know that are super famous, and they don't need to approve you.
Yeah, it's not intimidating like Facebook.
I'm on the Facebook too, but I'm kind of over it because you have people that reach out and they're, you don't know them really, but you see they're like, you have 400 friends in common, and they're all comics. And then you like go on your news feed and it's from like, it's Samantha Jenkins. And I don't, okay.
Do I know her? Yeah. Do I know her from somewhere? Where do I know? Where do I know them from? Yeah. No, Facebook is a bit,
overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. Twitter is just simple, 140 characters. Boom, Yeah. But
my website, it's mattknudsen.com. It's spelled Knudsen. I'm also on YouTube /Matt Knudsen. And basically, if you go on my website, I have like buttons that you can like click on for the Facebook fan page.
Interact with everything.
Yeah, and it'll like hyperlink from there. That was like one of my goals, to try and like shrink wrap it as much as possible.
Do you put like places you're going to be performing right there so people can come check you out?
Yeah, there's my calendar's on there. It has like probably like 6 or 7 tabs.
Okay.
Calendar, I have a mailing list. I don't really do a tremendous amount of marketing,
Well, you got to sell yourself, man.
All right, I know. Well, if it's a big show that I'm like need to promote and like really am proud about, and that I know, like I'll probably be recording my album at the Improv, the Melrose Improv. Which,
do you have any albums out now that people can purchase?
I do. I have an album. It's on iTunes. It's the Comedy Stylings of Matt Knudsen.
Okay.
And I released that on Rooftop Records in 2010. So, and you can actually, it's on my website too. You can click on and link it, or you can go on iTunes and get tracks and
I always try to get all the links on the show notes and everything, so people can get on there, purchase your album.
Solid.
See when you're going to be performing next. If they're in the area, you never know. Somebody,
And I'm active on Twitter too, so give me a follow, tweet at me.
Say hello.
Say hello. Don't be a stranger. That's kind of like my motto, so to speak. I like connecting, and it's so interesting now with like.
Do you get overwhelmed though? Do you get overwhelmed with connecting and being connected to your phone?
That's a good question. A little bit sometimes, and it's interesting because I'll be like on the phone. You're like, I don't even know. Why am I checking an email? Am I looking for something specific? Am I like,
it's habit,
do I need to confirm an audition or so? Yeah, you're looking at your phone. You're just zoning out. I try not to be that. I try to be very as present as possible.
Yeah, it's tough in today's world.
Yeah, it's true. Do
you have to end the show out? I like the people like a motto or a piece of advice or just words of wisdom from Matt.
Be cool.
Be cool.
Just be cool to everybody.
We'll end it.
Just not because they can do something for you, because that's how you like to be treated.
I love it. Yeah. We'll end it there. Thanks a lot, Matt, for sitting down and chatting.
Chris, it was my pleasure. I had a blast. Should we shake hands? It feels like there should be a handshaking kaboom.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
Excellent. Love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. I had a great time.
You bet. All right. Thank you very much, Matt Knudsen, for coming on this episode of the podcast, for sitting down and chatting with me. Had a really great time. You put on a great set during the SLC Comedy Carnivale. I'm excited for you to come back to Salt Lake City. Excited to see what you got coming up here in the future. If you want to get in touch with Matt Knudsen, connect with him on Twitter or Facebook. I'm going to put all of his links at the show notes. IamSaltLake.com/110. Give me a call on the voicemail line, 385-202-5926. I'd love to hear your feedback on this episode or any of the other episodes of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. Again, the website, IamSaltLake.com. Check it out. A lot of really cool things going on with the podcast, so you're going to want to make sure to subscribe in iTunes, follow me on Twitter, connect on Facebook. You know what to do. And until then, my name is Chris Hollifield, and thank you so much for listening to another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.